The Grand Archive of Selnar Prime fell silent as Archive Master Venta projected the latest findings above the circular chamber. The assembled historians, representing over 30,000 spacefaring civilizations, stared in disbelief at the data streams flooding their neural interfaces. "Impossible," whispered Senior Archivist Keldon, his crystalline form refracting the holographic light. "The energy signatures must be corrupted." Venta's tendrils rippled with barely contained excitement. "The data has been verified across 12 independent monitoring stations. What you're seeing is real. Humanity has achieved quantum entanglement communication on a stellar scale." The chamber erupted in overlapping voices, each historian trying to process this revelation. Quantum entanglement communication had been theorized for millions of years, but no civilization had managed to maintain coherence beyond planetary distances. The power requirements alone should have made it unfeasible for a species as young as humanity. "Show us the network architecture," demanded historian Ithera, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with skepticism. The hologram shifted, revealing an intricate web of quantum relay stations extending outward from Earth like a spider's web. Each node pulsed with activity, maintaining impossible coherence across light years of space. "Their methodology is elegant," admitted Keldon, his crystalline structure vibrating with reluctant admiration. "They've somehow solved the decoherence problem by—" He trailed off, analyzing the technical readouts. "This can't be right. They're using gravitational lensing to stabilize the quantum states." Venta's tendrils coiled in affirmation. "Precisely. They've positioned their relay stations at gravitational focal points throughout their local cluster. The natural space-time curvature at these locations acts as a stabilizing influence on the entangled particles." The assembled historians fell into stunned silence. The solution was brilliant in its simplicity, using the very fabric of space itself to maintain quantum coherence. Yet it required a level of gravitational engineering that should have been centuries beyond humanity's current capabilities. "When did they achieve this?" asked Ithera, her bioluminescence now showing patterns of intense curiosity. "The network became fully operational 3 standard cycles ago," Venta replied. "But our analysis suggests they've been testing individual nodes for nearly a decade. They kept the project hidden by disguising the relay stations as standard communication satellites." Keldon's crystal structure emitted a harmonic that indicated deep thought. A species barely 1,000 years into their space age shouldn't be capable of this level of innovation. Their evolutionary record shows no signs of external uplift or intervention. They developed this entirely on their own. "That's what makes this discovery so significant," Venta said, manipulating the hologram to show humanity's technological progression curve. "Their rate of advancement doesn't follow any known development model. They're accelerating exponentially, but without the typical collapse points we see in young civilizations." The implications hung heavy in the chamber. Throughout recorded history, rapid technological advancement invariably led to societal collapse or self-destruction. Yet humanity had somehow avoided these pitfalls, pushing forward with an almost reckless determination. "There's more," Venta continued, her tendrils twisting with what might have been nervousness. "The quantum network isn't just for communication. They're using it to coordinate something far more ambitious." The hologram shifted again, showing construction projects at the edge of human space. "By the first archive," breathed Ithera, her bioluminescence flickering rapidly. "Are those quantum computational arrays linked via the entanglement network?" "Yes," Venta confirmed. "They're building a distributed quantum supercomputer spanning their entire sphere of influence. The processing power, once fully operational, will exceed anything in known space." The chamber erupted in chaos. Multiple historians began accessing their own databases, cross-referencing historical precedents, searching for any parallel to what they were witnessing. They found none. Keldon's crystalline form vibrated at a frequency that demanded attention. "We must convene an emergency session of the full Historical Council. This discovery, It changes everything we thought we knew about technological development patterns. Venta's tendrils moved in agreement, already arranged. But before we proceed, there's one more detail you should know. She paused, ensuring she had everyone's attention. We've detected evidence that humanity is aware of our observation networks. The quantum relay stations, they're designed to be visible to our sensors. They want us to see what they've achieved. The implications of this final revelation left the chamber in complete silence. Humanity hadn't just mastered quantum entanglement communication. They had done so in a way that sent a clear message to the watching galaxy. We know you're out there, and we're ready to join you. The age of passive observation was coming to an end. The question now was, how would the galaxy's eldest civilizations respond to this upstart species that had accomplished the impossible? The full historical council convened in the ancestral chamber deep within Selnar Prime, a venue reserved for only the most momentous discoveries in galactic history. Ancient data crystals lined the walls, their surfaces reflecting the light of 1,000 different stellar spectra, each representing a civilization's complete historical record. Archive Master Venta stood before the concentrated assembly, her tendrils intertwined in the formal pattern of scientific presentation. Behind her, the quantum network diagram pulsed with real-time data streams, each flash representing millions of instantaneous communications across human space. Our investigation has revealed disturbing inconsistencies, she began. Humanity's quantum network didn't emerge from a single breakthrough. Rather, it appears to be the culmination of dozens of seemingly unrelated technological developments spanning the last 50 years of their history. High Archivist Zoldrak, whose species had documented the rise and fall of civilizations for over 10 million years, leaned forward on his gravity cushion. Explain these inconsistencies. Venta manipulated the holographic display, showing a timeline of human technological advancement. Consider their development of zero-point energy extraction. Initially, we dismissed it as a crude attempt at power generation, but now we understand it was a deliberate stepping stone, providing the precise energy frequencies needed for quantum stability. The assembled historians watched as more connections emerged. Human advances in materials science, gravitational manipulation, and even their primitive space elevator projects all had contributed essential components to the quantum network's creation. They were building it in plain sight, remarked Calden, his crystalline form resonating with newfound understanding. Each development appeared reasonable for their technological level, giving no indication of the greater design. Precisely, Venta confirmed. But the true revelation lies in their methodology. She expanded a section of the display showing human research facilities. They operate through what they call parallel innovation streams. Multiple teams work on different aspects of the same problem, often unaware of their connection to the larger project. Historian Nithra's bioluminescence pulsed with skepticism. Such inefficiency should have doomed the project. The resource waste alone. That's just it, Venta interrupted, her tendrils rippling with excitement. The inefficiency is deliberate. Human project leaders intentionally create redundancy, encouraging competition between teams. They've turned their own chaotic nature into an advantage. The chamber filled with murmurs of disbelief. Throughout galactic history, technological advancement had always followed ordered, logical progressions. The idea of intentionally introducing chaos into the process seemed counterintuitive, even dangerous. There's more, Venta continued. We've detected anomalies in their quantum network's behavior. The communication throughput exceeds theoretical maximums by several orders of magnitude. They're not just maintaining quantum coherence, they're somehow amplifying it. High Archivist Zoldrak's ancient eyes narrowed. That violates fundamental laws of quantum mechanics. According to our understanding of those laws, yes, Venta agreed. But humanity appears to have discovered principles we haven't considered. Their research archives contain references to something they call quantum resonance cascades, a phenomenon none of our civilizations has ever documented. The display shifted to show energy readings from various human quantum relay stations. The patterns defied conventional analysis, suggesting levels of efficiency that should have been physically impossible. Most concerning, Calden added, his crystalline structure emitting harmonics of worry, is the rate at which they're expanding the network. They've begun constructing relay stations beyond their colonial sphere, pushing into unclaimed space. The implications were clear. Humanity wasn't just developing new technology. They were actively preparing for galactic scale operations. The quantum network was laying the groundwork for something even more ambitious. We've also uncovered evidence of other projects. Venta revealed, her tendrils moving in complex patterns of concern. The quantum network appears to be just one component of a larger initiative. We've detected unusual energy signatures around several human research stations, signatures that suggest they're experimenting with space-time manipulation on a fundamental level. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices once again. Space-time manipulation was considered the most dangerous field of study in known space. Multiple civilizations had destroyed themselves attempting to master it. Have they shown any sign of awareness regarding the risks? Asked Ethera, her bioluminescence now showing patterns of genuine alarm. They're aware, Venta confirmed. We've intercepted internal communications discussing various catastrophic failure scenarios. But rather than abandon their research, they've simply increased their safety protocols and continued pushing forward. High Archivist Zoldrak raised a limb for silence. When the chamber quieted, his ancient voice carried the weight of millions of years of historical observation. In all our records, we have never encountered a species that combines such technological intuition with this level of controlled recklessness. The question before us now is not just how they achieved these breakthroughs, but what they intend to do with them. Venta's tendrils coiled in agreement. There's one more detail that may help answer that question. She adjusted the display one final time, revealing a massive construction project hidden in the outer reaches of human space. This facility came online 3 days ago. Its power signature matches nothing in our historical database, but its quantum signatures suggest it's capable of computing operations that exceed the combined processing power of every known civilization in the galaxy. The silence that followed was profound. Every historian present understood that they were witnessing something unprecedented. A young species that had not only mastered quantum mechanics but was now poised to revolutionize the very nature of information processing across the galaxy. The age of comfortable assumptions about technological progress had ended. Humanity had not only changed the rules of the game, they had created an entirely new one. 3 cycles had passed since the initial discovery, and the ancestral chamber had become a permanent war room for the historical council. The walls, usually serene with their ancient data crystals, now blazed with continuous updates from observation posts throughout human space. They've activated the Helios Array, announced Venta, her tendrils forming patterns that conveyed both awe and trepidation. The central hologram displayed a massive structure unfurling in orbit around Earth's sun, a web of quantum-linked satellites that defied conventional engineering principles. High Archivist Zoldrak studied the data with ancient eyes that had seen civilizations rise and fall like cosmic tides. The energy output is unprecedented. They're not just harvesting solar power, they're tapping into something far more fundamental. Zero-point energy extraction on a stellar scale. Calden's crystalline form vibrated with the implications. They're drawing power directly from the quantum fabric of space itself. The computational potential alone is beyond anything we've considered possible. Ythra completed the thought, her bioluminescent patterns shifting rapidly. With this level of processing power, combined with their quantum network, she paused, her patterns displaying clear distress. They could simulate entire realities. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had moved beyond mere technological advancement. They were approaching capabilities that the oldest civilizations had only theorized about in their most ambitious scientific texts. There's more. Venta manipulated the display, revealing the new set of construction projects scattered throughout human space. These facilities began operation last cycle. Our analysis suggests there's some form of reality anchors, devices designed to stabilize local spacetime against quantum fluctuations. Defensive measures, Zoldrak observed, his ancient form shifting slightly. They're preparing for the consequences of their experiments. Perhaps they're not as reckless as we initially assumed. Keldon's crystalline structure emitted harmonics of concern, or they're preparing for something far more ambitious. Look at the distribution pattern of these anchors. The hologram zoomed out, showing the full scope of human space. The reality anchors formed a precise geometric pattern, like nodes in a vast web. It's a containment grid, Yithra realized, her bioluminescence pulsing with sudden understanding. They're creating a stable quantum bubble around their entire sphere of influence. But why? What could possibly require such extensive spacetime stabilization? Venta's tendrils coiled tightly. We may have an answer to that. She brought up a new set of readings, these from the edge of human space. We've detected temporal anomalies around their outermost research stations. They're not just manipulating space, they're beginning to experiment with time itself. The chamber erupted in waves of concern. Throughout galactic history, temporal manipulation had been considered the ultimate taboo. The risks of causality paradoxes and timeline collapse had led even the most advanced civilizations to abandon such research. But look at their methodology, Keldon noted, his crystalline form refracting the holographic light in complex patterns. They're not trying to change the past or future. These readings suggest they're attempting to expand it. Expand time. Yithra's patterns showed confusion. That's theoretically impossible. Time is a fundamental constant. Perhaps not as constant as we believed, Venta responded. Human quantum physicists have proposed something they call temporal dilation fields, regions where the flow of time itself can be altered without causing paradoxes. The reality anchors aren't just stabilizing space, they're preparing to stabilize expanded temporal states. High Archivist Zoldrak raised himself slightly on his gravity cushion, a gesture that commanded immediate attention. In all our recorded history, no species has ever attempted such fundamental manipulation of reality itself. The implications for the galaxy are impossible to predict, Venta completed. But there's one more detail that may be even more significant. She adjusted the display one final time, revealing a massive structure under construction at the heart of human space. This facility came online yesterday. Its purpose is unlike anything we've ever encountered. The assembled historians stared in stunned silence at the readings. The structure appeared to be some form of quantum resonance chamber, but on a scale that boggled even their advanced minds. Energy patterns suggested it was designed to interact with the very fabric of reality itself. They're calling it the bridge, Venta explained, her tendrils moving in patterns that convey both excitement and fear. Based on the quantum signatures, we believe it's designed to open doorways. Doorways to where? Keldon asked, though the harmonics of his crystalline structure suggested he already suspected the answer. To other universes, Venta replied softly. Humanity isn't just pushing the boundaries of our universe, they're preparing to step beyond them entirely. The implications were staggering. A species barely out of its planetary cradle was attempting something that even the oldest civilizations had only dreamed about. They weren't just rewriting the rules of physics, they were preparing to explore realms beyond the known universe itself. The age of comfortable theoretical physics was over. Humanity had decided to turn the impossible into reality, and the galaxy would never be the same. The emergency session of the full Historical Council had stretched into its 14th cycle. The ancestral chamber's data crystals pulsed with an intensity not seen in millennia, reflecting the gravity of the decisions being debated. We can no longer maintain our position of passive observation, declared High Archivist Zoldrak, his ancient form radiating authority. Humanity's bridge project threatens the very stability of our universe. We must respond. Venta's latest projection showed the bridge facility nearing completion. The quantum resonance readings had grown stronger, sending ripples through the fabric of space-time that could be detected across the galaxy. Direct intervention would violate every protocol we've established over millions of years. Calden objected, his crystalline structure vibrating with concern. We are historians, not regulators of species development. Perhaps it's time those protocols evolved, Ythra suggested, her bioluminescent patterns forming complex arguments. Humanity has already detected our observation networks. They're practically inviting contact. The chamber's atmosphere grew tense as centuries of tradition clashed with unprecedented circumstances. The quantum network that had first drawn their attention now spanned human space like a nervous system, carrying impossible amounts of data at speeds that defied physics itself. "There's something else you should see," Venta announced, her tendrils forming patterns of urgent significance. The holographic display shifted, showing new construction at the edge of human space. "They're building quantum receivers, but these aren't designed for communication within our universe." The implications hit the assembly like a gravitational wave. Humanity wasn't just preparing to open doorways to other universes, they were already attempting to communicate with them. Part 5. The New Era. The decision, when it came, was unprecedented in its unanimity. For the first time in the history of the Council, every single member voted to break their own most sacred protocols. As the assembled historians watched, High Archivist Zoldarak activated the ancient communication arrays hidden beneath Selnar Prime. A signal, carried by technologies so old they had passed into legend, streaked across space toward Earth. "Message transmitted," Venta confirmed, her tendrils coiled in anticipation. "Now we wait." They didn't have to wait long. The response came not through conventional channels, but through the quantum network itself. Somehow, humanity had detected their signal and adapted it to their own communication systems in real time. The holographic display erupted with new data as humanity shared their full scientific database openly and without reservation. The Bridge Project, the quantum network, the reality anchors, everything was laid bare with a transparency that shocked the Council. "They've been waiting for us," Calden realized, his crystalline structure resonating with sudden understanding. Every achievement, every breakthrough, it was all designed to reach this moment. The human message was elegantly simple. "We know what lies beyond. We've seen it, and we want to share it with you all." Attached to the message were specifications for a new type of quantum receiver, one that could detect signals from parallel universes. Humanity hadn't just theorized about other realities. They had already made contact. "This changes everything," Ythra whispered, her bioluminescence pulsing with emotions too complex to translate. "They're not just advancing technology. They're advancing the very nature of existence itself." The final data package from Earth contained something that left even the oldest historians speechless. A map of the multiverse, showing countless alternate realities interconnected by quantum threads. Humanity had discovered that the universe wasn't just stranger than they imagined. It was stranger than anyone could have imagined. High Archivist Zoldarak rose to his full height, his ancient form practically vibrating with the weight of the moment. "For millions of years, we have watched the galaxy's civilizations rise and fall. We have documented their achievements and their failures, but never, in all our combined history, have we witnessed something like this." He paused, surveying the assembled council. "Today, we are no longer mere observers of history. Today, we become part of it. Humanity has not just advanced beyond our expectations. They have opened doors we never knew existed, and they are inviting us to walk through them together." The ancestral chamber, which had recorded the histories of countless civilizations, now prepared to document something entirely new. The moment when humanity led the galaxy not just into a new era, but into new universes entirely. As the quantum network pulsed with activity and the bridge facility prepared for its first official test, the historians of Selnar Prime realized that their role had fundamentally changed. They were no longer just recording history, they were about to help make it. The age of isolation was over. The exploration of the multiverse was about to begin. And humanity, the species that had seemed too young and too reckless, had become the torchbearers leading the way into an infinite frontier of new possibilities. The story of the galaxy would never be the same again. And in the ancestral chamber of Selmar Prime, the data crystals began recording the first chapter of what would become known as the greatest adventure in the history of all existence, the moment when humanity showed the galaxy that the impossible was just the beginning.